All right, so we've drawn out our sketches. We've created a materials list. We've labeled the materials in the appropriate views. And now we're ready to add some color and make this look really nice, and so people will understand what they're looking at. The one thing I want to mention first is we do something which we call outlining. And when we do the outlining, we are going to use straight edges for this, and what I like to do is really dark outline the shape. So I'm going to use this teal for the jar, and so this outside of the jar I'm drawing nice and dark and making this really pop. Okay, now that I have the jar outlined, when I actually shade this in, I'm going to shade as light as possible and still have some color end up on the sheet of paper. So it should be my goal to make it even difficult to see. You should barely see any color whatsoever. So I'm adding it to the cap here because this is the jar. Notice I'm going in the same direction for that whole section. I don't want to be constantly changing the direction of my shading, because then the slight lines that you see, those will be changing directions, and it just makes it look sloppier. Okay, so this teal is the jar. So I'm going to, on this side of the dot, I'm going to put a little box and shade it in. That is my jar. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this outline for the top of the peanut butter. Now the jar makes up all of the outside lines. The peanut butter that's where the jar and the peanut butter separate, and very lightly, as lightly as I possibly can, with still getting a little color on the paper, I'm going to shade this in, keeping at the same angle. Alright, I'm shading this in. We're shading similar to we did in the sketching project. Again, I'm drawing this very lightly. If you draw it too dark, it looks messy. We just want to show that this and this are different. Okay, next we have the egg. Now, I'm not using the colors that match the actual colors of the actual objects, but I want colors that contrast well. Okay, so green and teal, or this teal and orange. These are colors that are on the opposite side of the color wheel, and they will have good contrast. For the egg, I want to pick something that's kind of light, so I'm going to go with yellow. And I'm going to make it pop by drawing dark on the outline of the egg, where the egg starts and the peanut butter stops. And then inside the egg, I'm just going to really lightly add a little bit of color. And this one you might really not even be able to see in the video. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do that for all three drawings, and this is to help you identify what shapes in your drawing. It helps you identify what the materials are. So, and up here I forgot to add my box for the egg, and So I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing an outside box that's nice and dark, and inside of the box I'm just shading very lightly, just like so. So now I can see that this teal color, that represents this jar, and I can see the jar extends all the way down here, and it's only there. Peanut butter is the orange, and I can see that this is where the jar ends and the peanut butter starts, and the peanut butter is all throughout there. Now, the peanut butter, if you saw this in 3D, you would see that it covers up the egg, but because the egg is there, we're pretending like it's cut through the middle, and I can see the egg sort of by itself, not behind peanut butter. I wouldn't want to shade over the egg with orange or teal because I want to see the different shapes distinct from each other. All right, so I'm gonna continue this. Okay, so this is my finished drawing, and you can see that you can identify each of the different materials. You have all of the materials listed up here. We have each thing identified both with words and in color over the entire drawing. It's accurate, it's to proportion. I used the correct line types. You may notice that the front view and the right side are very similar drawings, okay? They are almost identical. The reason this happened is because one view is a circle, and whenever you have a circle, like this marker is circular, when I turn it in this view, it's going to be one shape, and then when I rotate it, it's going to be the same shape. So that's perfectly fine. If you have something that's cylindrical, you will always have two views that are almost identical, and that's okay.